Great, so now we are moving on to back to smart marketing and tech, driving up direct bookings. Up next, smart marketing and tech drove up to 80% of direct bookings. And one of the things we always try to do here is bring real stories of progress to life. So when we identify a customer or a hotel group that we've seen like evolve and really improve the direct bookings, like we ask them, please, will you come and share what it is you've done? And that is exactly what's happened here. Moh, who is the VP of Digital Strategy and E-commerce at Modus by PM Group, was talking to Rosie Green, who is from the Triptease customer success team. With over 15 years in experience in digital marketing, Moh has a proven track record of transforming underperforming hotel websites, and I can attest to that. We see the data. What he does works. He has a system, a framework, and it has real impact. And so that's why we managed to twist his arm and convince Moh to come up and tell us what he does and explain to you. Moh.
Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Ro. I'm delighted to be joined today by Moh, who is the VP of Digital Strategy and E-com at Modus by PM Hotel Group. So before we get into things, Moh, if you can give us a short intro about yourself.
Hey there, my name is Moh Baaghil. I'm the VP of Digital Strategy and E-commerce for Modus by PM Hotel Group. PM Group has a portfolio of 92 hotels, 20 independent, which is under the Modus arm, and I oversee all the digital strategies and e-commerce for the independent side. I am 45 years old, married with 3 kids, in case you're wondering that I look 25.
Love it. And so today we're going to talk about one of those properties in specific, where you and your team have had a real impact on the direct booking initiative and the direct bookings at the property. So tell us a little bit about Dr. Wilkinson's resort.
Yeah, so we have one of our beautiful properties there in Napa Valley. It's a boutique wellness resort. Say the name first. Dr. Wilkinson's Spa and Resort in Calistoga, California. Opened in 1952, 50 rooms, and we just recently went through a multi-million-dollar renovation and reopened in 2021. The personality of the hotel is bold, playful, and a bit quirky. And it has a mid-century Americana vibe, known for mud bath and mineral pools. And we're targeting upscale wellness seekers and Bay Area weekenders and couples.
Amazing. So this has been quite a long-term project. It's something that's, you've been working on for quite a few years. So maybe talk us through the data of what you were seeing that made you realize there was challenges with the direct bookings that you already had in place.
Yeah, so pre-COVID and pre-renovation, we had a heavy OTA leaning. Over 60% of total revenue came from the OTA. Practically low awareness, low brand search volume on search engines, and on our website traffic, over 65% of the traffic was for mobile with poor conversion rates. And we didn't have any first-party data acquisition strategy.
Okay, amazing. So there's a lot there in those 4 bullet points. We do only have 30 minutes today, so let's kind of get into it. So how did you kind of go around tackling putting a framework into place of how to start to tackle some of the challenges that you've noticed?
Yeah, so we start with a framework, put everything together to guide our direction, right? So this one I've abbreviated as FIRST, F-I-R-S-T. We want to be funnel aware in our messaging and creative across the full funnel. We want to capture intent across paid and organic, and we want to be relevant through segmentation and first-party data. Our spending has to be smart across our tools and paid media initiatives, and we have to be always testing everything, right? Audiences, offers, user experience, and creatives.
And so within this framework, Moh's pulled out 5 key initiatives that we're going to touch on today. And so getting straight into the first one, optimizing for mobile. So really, Moh, why mobile?
Yeah, so Mobile, simply because 2/3 of our website traffic is for mobile, and they don't convert because I think it's been said a lot, the mobile booking experience is just terrible. The typical guest behavior that we see, and I'm sure most of you see that, is most people browse and shop on mobile, and when they're ready to book, they switch to desktop. And I wanted to really solve for that. So why they don't complete the booking through mobile, and that's why this became our first focus. Before we work on any other paid media initiative or any of the cold traffic to the website, we have to fix this checkout flow first. So mobile was our first key initiative there.
And so looking for a mobile-friendly booking solution, what does mobile-friendly actually mean to you?
So mobile-friendly to me is not just responsive design. Mobile-friendly is fast loading pages, integration of Apple Pay and Google Pay, and simply offering a booking experience that's as smooth as booking an Uber, right? Or purchasing from Amazon or booking an Airbnb. We really wanted to mimic that experience. This is what travelers expect, and that's what converts, right? If it feels like a desktop shrunk into a mobile screen, that's not mobile friendly.
And do you have a particular solution that you chose, and maybe why?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm fighting bad allergies here.
Allergy season.
Yes, so we went with self-book. There are a couple of options. We happen to use self-book. Olive is another good option. We chose self-book because it provided just that, right? That checkout booking experience on mobile that I was looking for. And it also comes with digital wallet. So we can easily turn on, as you can see, Apple Pay and Google Pay.
And so we know converting on mobile is a challenge that a lot of hoteliers in the audience will be familiar with. So talk us through the data. What did you see? What success did you see for optimizing for mobile?
So we saw amazing results, and this is all of 2024. We saw an increase of our mobile conversion rate by 18% year over year. Our mobile share of revenue for the website increased by 65% to a 43% share of revenue from mobile. And then with digital wallets in place, we saw an adoption of 41% of people use Apple Pay and Google Pay.
Phenomenal results there. Well done.
Yeah.
Amazing. So moving on to the second key initiative, so paid media engine. So this is quite a chunky initiative, so a lot to cover in kind of a couple of minutes. But talk us through what your approach was to paid media.
Yeah, so my approach to paid media is to be present across the funnel, right? And I saw a post the other day, somebody posted that it's not even a funnel anymore. It's more of a pinball machine, right? And I would agree with that. It's more sporadic than linear, the booking journey. So let's just say to be present across as many touch points as possible.
And what does efficiently mean for you? So if you want to make sure that you're operating efficiently across all of these paid media channels, what does that look like?
Right, so we want to run it efficiently too. And by efficient, I mean, I do want to drive as much direct as possible, but I also want to maintain a 6 to 8% cost of revenue. For every $1 million of revenue, I shouldn't be spending more than $80,000 in paid media. If I'm spending more than $80,000, then my bottom is falling, and I need to reassess my channels and optimize accordingly. So basically a 12 to 1 return, ROAS.
Okay. And talk us through, like, practically what this means day to day. You know, what kind of campaigns are you running? What are you actually doing?
Yeah, one of the things we do is if we want to hit the top of the funnel, we always want to be feeding our funnel or pinball machine with cold traffic, that qualified cold traffic with prospecting. We always want new users to enter our funnel, right? So with that, I had to make sure that it's targeted properly. So we utilize Adara for first-party data acquisition. There's also Sojourn, which just happened. I tested both actually, and we see various results, but we happen to use Adara. We layer in the audience, travel intent audience. We purchase the data from Adara, and then we layer it into our display prospecting campaign and social media prospecting campaign. So with that, we can really segment. We can target midweek business travel or weekenders or couples and so on.
And so what was the impact on your OTA initiative? So what did...
Well, before that, so the other than Adara, so that's top funnel, right? So we're putting users through the top first, prospecting. We also have to make sure we layer in PMax to scoop up all of the bottom. PMax is a performance max is a Google ad campaign type, right? And PMax has been really working well for us to make sure we capture all of that bottom funnel, because if we're spending a lot of money on top to put new users in and inspire them to stay at our hotel, the last thing we want is all that dollars that we spend here is for them to book through an OTA, right? We want to make sure we have PMax to scoop that up, and then brand. So before I get to brand, so PMax, yeah, the good thing about PMax, it has really strong audience signal, and you can feed it more signals. There's a little trick about how many other hotels here in Napa Valley. Any in Napa? Okay, so I can give this one away. So with PMax, if you go to the audience signals, you can grab all of your comp set website URLs, add it in there in the settings, add your comp set branded keywords, add it to the settings to strengthen the signal. So what this does is you're basically training the algorithm for PMax. You're telling the algo, everybody who visit their website and everybody who search their brand keywords on Google is also my targeted guest. So that strengthens the signal and really refines your audience targeting. And then the last thing there is the brand campaign. So again, when we put users through, we want to make sure we really capture them throughout, right? So with brand, especially if you're in an OTA-heavy market and you have OTAs bidding on your brand name, and sometimes competitors bidding on your brand name, you want to make sure that you have at least 80% impression share in that auction. So you have to protect that high-intent brand search on Google by setting the bid. So work with your agency to make sure the bidding strategy is set to target impression share at least 80%. So what this means, basically, you want to make sure that you're, if not number one or two result when somebody searches your brand name. So you make sure you take them direct as often as possible.
So with all of that work on all of those channels, so a lot of work on PMax and all of your awareness campaigns, how did that actually change how you worked with OTAs and some paid campaigns that you did with them?
Yeah, so with all of these direct initiatives in place, we have to kind of balance to allow these initiatives to work. So we have to kind of scale back on the OTA ads a little bit. So the way I treat travel ad, we really use it as per need basis, right? So just to fill in the gap with our need period, specific need period. So we don't have everything on all travel windows. So really just focus, turn on the bids for where you need the most, so you can utilize the, excuse me, sorry, the Expedia marketing machine and the Expedia engine for that, right? To get the 0 to 21 weekend specifically, if that's what you need, or midweek 22 plus, just bid on that, turn everything else off to help you fill that need period, because majority of your bookings should come from all of those direct initiatives.
Amazing. And so similar to before with the first key initiative, talk us through some of the main outcomes and successes of those strategies.
Some of the results we've seen, again, by utilizing the right audience targeting, we saw a really strong click-through rate with our display campaign. Another component of that is the creative, right, which is one of the initiatives there. So by having really strong creative, really strong audience signals, we were able to get 1.5% click-through rate on display prospecting. This is against a benchmark of 0.5%, so 3 times the benchmark there, which I was very pleased with to see that result. And then as far as the bottom funnel, our PMax, all of last year, 2024, was 10% of our website revenue and produced a return of 31 to 1.
And talk us through that ROAS figure maybe in a bit more detail. That's quite a high ROAS figure.
Let's talk about ROAS a little bit. I know we get fixated on this metric a lot, and a lot of our owners, they like, if I see 31 to 1, I'm not pretty happy about this return. To me, like, this should be lower. If I see a return this high, 20x, 25x, 30x, to me, because ROAS could give you a false sense of security, right? When you see too high, you're like doing the victory dance already. To me, it might, not in all cases, signal that I'm underspending. I need to spend more, have a lower ROAS. Maybe I should get it down to 15 to 1 because I'm probably leaving money on the table, right? So maybe let me see if I can spend more, increase revenue, because ultimately we want higher revenue, not ROAS. So if I can get it down to 15x, but increase my revenue 10%, by increasing my spend, I should definitely do that.
Great insights there, thank you. My clicker's not working, there we go, perfect. So moving on to the next key initiative. So we've started with the booking experience and making sure that guests have a seamless experience, as well as even getting them there in the first place. But there's a lot to cover in between that. So talk us through your third key initiative of owning the guest relationship.
Yeah, so acquiring first-party data, it's very important. One, because it's direct communication with the guest. Once we build that first-party database, we can also use it to build lookalike audiences. And it will help us reduce cost per booking or cost per acquisition over time. So the more data I have, the more I communicate to them, it will increase the lifetime value of each guest. And over time, that cost per guest acquisition gets lowered. That's why it's important, and especially now even more important with all of the deprecation of third-party cookies and all of the iOS updates and all of the privacy laws.
So how did you acquire it? How did you go about acquiring first-party data?
We used Attentive here, Attentive SMS, capture first-party data. It works well for us in many different ways. We can capture their, so we use an incentive. It's a value exchange, right? You have to give an incentive to get their information. So we put that, if you want to go to the next screen. So this is what it looks like on the home page. This one here is the email capture. Once they do that, they move on to the mobile phone number capture. We use Attentive because they have a double opt-in, which makes us compliant with privacy. Once we capture their phone number, they'll receive a text message where they have to opt in again. So we have that double opt-in to make sure we're good there as far as like privacy before we start communication. And then as you can see, we have the incentive there. So this really make it more compelling for them to give us their data. One area is the sign-up unit. So we see production from that rate code right there with the sign-up unit. And then once they go into our SMS flow, we can send them SMS campaigns, and that's an additional source of revenue for us for future upselling, cross-selling, or even for them to just come back 6 months later down the line.
And so once again, let's look at the data of this initiative. What were some of the key successes from this?
Yeah, so with that, Attentive, all of last year, it helped us add almost an additional 12,000 emails to our database and over 7,000 phone numbers. Collectively, between the sign-up unit and all the campaigns that we sent, it produced 478,000 for us in revenue, and that represents 18% of our website revenue.
And just to clarify that, with the revenue generated from the direct campaigns, is that both the email campaigns and the SMS?
Just SMS.
Just SMS together.
The email goes into the Revenate, and it goes into a different flow. This is just SMS. So the sign-up unit from the website, when they redeem that offer, and then any campaigns we send them afterwards. Phenomenal
results there. Great work. And moving on to the fourth key initiative, so get creative. So I know there's actually a lot of hoteliers in the audience that struggle with creatives. It's a common kind of talking point that I actually have with a lot of clients. So why was this so important to Dr. Wilkes?
So creative, I think it was mentioned quite a few times yesterday. Jason talked about it. I know Anthony talked about it. Really important, and I think this is one area I see many hotels underutilize, underinvest in, underestimate. It's really key. The main reason is because in order to sell our hotels, we have to tell the story, right? In order to tell the story, you have to use really good, strong visuals, not just verbiage. We have to have like really strong photography and videos. So we really we're fortunate for this property to have really supportive ownership. So they really understand it, and they gave us the budget. to build the different creative assets for all of our needs across the funnel, from prospecting to bottom funnel to, video plays on YouTube and things like that.
So what did you actually do? So you had a great budget for your creatives. What did you do?
So one thing key here is to always be testing, right? A/B testing. You don't want to, again, part of the framework is the F, right? Funnel first approach. So you have to make sure to use the right creative at the right stage of the funnel, and always be testing different variants to make sure you have a winning creative.
As I say, yeah, let's maybe move on to the testing.
Yeah.
So talk us through, we've got some examples here from your social ads. So
some examples here. So this ad is a social ad on the left here. This is a winning version between two versions that we ran. With this one, we experimented by adding social proof to the description. We added the star rating. This is a real review from one of our guests. So we experimented with adding that. We used the video. And then we changed the call to action to learn more. Excuse me. Versus book now. Learn more is just a lot less pressure for the user, so that you don't have to give them that sense of urgency to book now just yet, because you still need to inspire them. So you want to encourage clicks. When you add learn more, we always find when we test learn more with book now, and that's another area of testing, CTAs, right? Learn more usually, in most cases, have more clicks than book now. So that was a winning creative for our top funnel. That was a 5.5% click-through rate, really, really strong, given the average on social is 2%. And then the one on the right, this is when we start retargeting, and this is when we start to introduce our offer. We use book now to get that sense of urgency, and we use our winning photo. So even everything there is done purposely, right? Even the photo selection. So we look at photos that receive the highest click-through rate, and we look at photos that receive the highest conversion rate. So when we do retargeting, like the one on the right here, we look at photos that receive the highest conversion rate. And this happened to be our highest converting photo, so we use that for that purpose.
And what would your suggestion be for how often hoteliers should update their creatives and actually refresh their images?
I would recommend we refresh creative quarterly. So for your top funnel prospecting, you should always have an evergreen creative that runs throughout the year. Those should not have any offer or anything yet, because you're still prospecting, right? So you want to inspire them. It's the first time they're learning about your hotel, so you want to use your USPs. What are your unique selling proposition call-outs? Maybe highlight the location, some key things why they should stay at the property. If you want to refresh that, you can refresh it quarterly by adding a touch of seasonality into it. If you are a ski destination, then you can add like a skiing image to your top funnel creative. And then for retargeting, we also refresh that quarterly based on what offer we're pushing in any given quarter.
So one challenge often with creatives, and this is kind of slightly touched on at Hover's session yesterday, but it's quite a resource-heavy, or it can be a resource-heavy task in terms of, smaller marketing teams. What would your suggestions be to them of how to tackle this or go around the budgets? And
look, I get it. Not every hotel have a full marketing team. Ideally, you should have 10 to 15,000 budget for really proper creative, hiring a photographer, a videographer to take those assets for you. If you don't have that budget, you can get a little scrappy, find local photographer, local videographer for a couple of grand maybe. You just got to have your full asset library of assets. If you don't even have a couple of grand, just use your iPhone. I think it was mentioned yesterday, you can try to take some really great shots with your iPhone at least.
And I remember one of the points was you have to have video, which is something that clearly
Yes.
Dr. Wilkes have adopted and has worked for you as well. So
Yeah.
amazing. And talk us through the outcomes of success of really focusing on your creative strategy.
So, example from our social campaigns, when we use the right creative, again, across the funnel, right? We saw our web traffic from social, this is all of last year, increased by 42% year over year. That's because those creative had a higher click-through rate, so more clicks equal more traffic, right? So that traffic increase, we don't only want to increase traffic to the website by layering the right audience, we also want to make sure they're engaging with our website. So not only getting traffic, but get quality qualified traffic. And with that, we saw an increase in engagement rate by 50% from social channels. The CTR for that social ad that we saw on the slide before, that's what I was mentioning, 5.5% against that 2% benchmark.
And so some amazing stats there come out from your testing. Is that something that you do across all of your channels, or is this just exclusively
across all?
social
This happened to
campaigns?
be one example from social, but this is the case for all channels: display, retargeting, all of them.
Brilliant. And then moving on to the fifth key initiative, so closing the loop. What exactly does that mean to you, Mo?
So this is, once again, we put users through, we want to make sure we close the loop. So retargeting all of the brand, making sure the impression share with PMax, many different things. This was key for us and is still key for us is the dynamic retargeting that we utilize with Triptease. This has been a great campaign for us to re-engage users after they initially abandoned. And what I really like about this is it's really dynamic. It really pulls that date range that they selected, and it pulls the best available rate, and it just spits it out and just chase them around the internet to come back and book.
Okay. How important is that personalized element? So the fact that it is dynamic and it pulls through the guest search details and the price of when they last looked?
It applies here too. So with that, we look at the highest converting photo or the photo with the highest conversion rate, and we just utilize it for this one as well.
Brilliant. And then for the final key initiative, take us through the stats again.
So this particular campaign, the dynamic retargeting, produced over $200,000 for us last year, and it represented 10% of our website revenue.
Amazing. And so with all of the initiatives that we've spoken through, that comes with a lot of testing with different providers and really kind of pulling that stack together. Can you give us a quick recap of what you found worked for Dr. Wilks?
So this is what our tech stack looks like. There are many tools, many options. We happen to use those. There are some free options. The bottom one's there, Microsoft Clarity. I use this a lot for website heat map analysis. It's important to look at your website, what the users are doing on your website, what they're clicking on, not clicking on, so you'll be able to guide any changes to the website. Another great free tool, which I'm pretty sure many of you use it, is Looker Studio. So not a perfect tech stack. I would love for these to talk to each other more. I know there's a lot of talk about integration, right? So that's a pain point. And I think I'm going to start to use some of Charlie's suggested AI automation tools to try to connect some of these and have them, or maybe pull some data from one place to another.
And then so with all of the initiatives that we've spoken through, there was just 5 there, which really doesn't kind of cover the breadth of a 4-year strategy. But can you summarize that into the results that you've seen over the past year?
So this is 2 years running with this result. This is the result from last year. We were able to really flip the script here. So we got up to 82% direct booking share. Our OTA revenue share went down to 14%. And then our blended Google ad return on ad spend was 18.5 to 1 last year. Our website received over 200,000 visitors with up to 67% engagement rate.
Maybe one thing that comes to mind here is some hoteliers in the audience might think, oh, that was great. It worked for your hotel. There's only 50 rooms. It was very kind of particular in its characteristics. What would you say to them? What would your suggestion be to hoteliers maybe wanting to roll this out to?
I don't see why not. This is, yes, this is a 50-key boutique hotel. I don't see why this is not applicable to any size hotel. It could be 200, 500 size hotel. You just have to really find the right tools and the right tech stack to make it work and make it based on your CRS. Some CRSs integrate, for example, Self-Book and Olive, some of them not. You have to find the right synergy between them. I think it's applicable to any size hotel.
And before we wrap up, can you take us through some of the key takeaways from all of the initiatives that we've covered?
Yes, so own your checkout experience. Do not settle for less. Make sure to speak to the guest after they book and after they visit. Do not run ads without funnel-specific creative. Don't run the same creative across the funnel everywhere. Buy intent smartly, whether you use Adara or Sojourn, first-party data. Test extensively, test a lot, but reiterate quickly based on the results. There is a certain time threshold you need to have a good representative sample when you do testing. So you'd have to look at 30 days or maybe 60 days sometimes. And at the end, it's a team effort. So this is not just marketing. This is not just me and the team. This is revenue team. As you know, we have to work with revenue. We have to work with sales. We work with operation. And everybody comes together to make these initiatives work.
And some phenomenal results. Amazing work, Mo. Any questions for Mo?
Those are phenomenal results. Thank you so much for sharing, Mo. Yes, down here. No, wait, don't be hold back. It's great that you ask questions.
Is that a competitor in Napa?
Hello, great results. Thank you very much for that presentation. I live and breathe in this world myself. So when you increased the mobile rate, how much did your website conversion rate drop?
Drop?
I'm assuming you had probably a 4 or 5% conversion rate on the web and a 0.5% conversion rate on mobile.
That's a very good point. That's actually something I was looking at early on, and I was concerned about that it might take share from desktop if mobile increased. The overall revenue increased. That's for sure. So I look at that. It didn't necessarily take a significant share from desktop. I think it became balanced.
Wonderful.
When I put self-book on, I purposely just put it on mobile, not that. You can put it on desktop too. But because I wanted to test the different, so it's not a big shift from desktop to mobile.
And then my second question was, with the higher adoption of PMAX that we're seeing right now, are you seeing any softening of the results this year over last year?
This year to date now, 2025? Yeah, 2025 has been rough, as many of you know. It's not the same result as last year, especially for Napa. Wine countries not seeing the same demand as we've been seeing in previous years with the geopolitical stuff that's going on and the tariffs and all of that. We're definitely seeing a decline this year. So the results you saw is for last year. We're trying to experiment now with looking at top feeder market. For example, Texas is a big feeder market for wine country. So we're looking at those high value, high ADR bookers from Texas, again, to purchase that first party data and create some Texas package, that could potentially come into our hotel.
Yes, great.
Join us on stage.
Great presentation, Mo. I really appreciate it.
I know you do a lot there too. Yeah.
I really love the technique that you used with regarding using the stars in the ad and the review. Did you have to get permission from the person who provided that review to be able to utilize it?
We don't, because it's publicly posted. So they already agreed to post it public if it's considered public information. So we can resurface it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Mo, I had a couple. One, I mean, it's an amazing evolution and transformation. So one was, what was the timeline from when you start? Because you went through a real process there. How long did it take?
So we completed the renovation 2021. We started to get everything together 2022. We really start to see great results 23 and 24.
Okay.
So the last 2 years, really.
It takes time. And then also investment. Like, can you give a sense of how much additional budget was needed or required to achieve it?
Yeah. So, and I know Jason mentioned this yesterday too about the budget. The budget have to really tie into the forecasted revenue. I really try to get at least 5% from forecasted revenue. And like I said, for paid media, 6 to 8% cost of revenue. So for every million, I need like 80K at least, or maximum, not at least, maximum of 80K to be able to run efficiently and make a dent. Because if you have a really tiny budget, you might as well just not spend it.
So wait, let me just say that back to make sure I understood. So top revenue for the hotel, you take 5% of that as your target for overall marketing spend.
At minimum, yeah. For digital marketing.
Okay, and then 6 to 8% when you is what you expect to spend on media to drive.
Yes, or a 12 to 1 return. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Alan.
Great presentation, by the way. Quick question on the first-party data. I understand you were using Adara.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of new acquisition, what was the percentage of new acquisition or new people booking you based on that?
For this hotel, I would say 70 to 75% first-time visitors to the website,
Okay.
first-time bookers.
Okay.
So now we're working actually on to increase that repeat visit.
Okay, so my follow-up question to that is, have they been able to prevent the duplicates? When I say duplicates, we were using a similar product before, and what we found is there was a lot of our members that were already booking that they were putting as part of the delivery of their success. So have they improved the deduplication process?
For Adara?
Yeah.
I've not seen any duplication with Adara because I know they have what they call the clean house data where they do like cross checks and stuff. I know they had issues a few years ago, but they've improved their data signals quite a bit. Yeah.
How are you splitting the budget for prospecting versus retargeting through paid media?
So I have a whole slide on that. There is a distribution of budget based on the funnel. It really depends. If for a brand new hotel, prospecting needs more. So I would go 60% prospecting first because initially, if you're a brand new hotel or if you're a hotel with not a lot of awareness, you need to spend like at least 60% of your budget there because you're probably not going to have a lot of brand search volume, not a lot of retargeting just yet. That pool is small. And then as you gain awareness and you gain brand search volume, those percentages will shift. So if you have a really solid awareness, good brand search volume, you still need that prospecting. I would say at least 30%.
Right. Okay. If it's okay, I have a couple more questions myself because it's so fascinating. I love the fact that you've laid out a framework and an overall approach, but also given us really good tidbits. So another one is, can you give me a sense of like how big is the team that's delivering the marketing planning strategy for this, as well as across multiple? How many hotels are you able to operate with as that team?
So we have regional marketing managers per region, West Coast marketing manager, East Coast, and then for different areas. They do help a lot with that. Some of the integration support with that. The ops team help a lot. And then I just work with agencies and the vendors directly.
So it's you and a couple of regional managers across how many properties?
20.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
And sorry, there's so many things I want to ask about. I'll allow myself one more, because I noticed there's a design hotel, and this is something that I've kind of been thinking about over the last couple of years. That's obviously great, right? That helps elevate the brand of that property, makes people expect something, and design hotels brings like a really great discerning customer. But they also have quite a strong discount for their closed user group. Is that something that is an important part of what you get from them and working with them?
As far as like Bonvoy, for example?
No, design hotels, I thought if you're a design hotel member, it's like a 15% discount or something. Do you see them displacing direct much?
Oh, no. We have to run it by design, so we have to get approvals.
Right.
Just to make sure like we're on parity across the board. So yeah, we do have to go through an approval process, but it doesn't dilute it much. It doesn't cause any issues for us.
Okay, cool. Great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Mo, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, wisdom, and approach. Thank you. Can I have this? Great. Thank you. Actually, and a wider thank you, Mo. I know our team learns a lot from working with you, and it's really great that you come and share those like little tips as well as the big picture approach stuff. It's just excellent.